by creating Adam. It says it here very strategically. God created he, him. And then says male and female created he, them. I mean, this is very clear when you really think about it. So he created both man and woman when he created man. So that means both. Even when Eve was taken out of Adam's rib, she still had masculine energy because she came from the bone of Adam. Adam had to have masculine and feminine energy in order for Eve to come out of his side. You see what I'm saying? So when God created us in his image, the way he saw fit in the most perfect image that he could think of, he takes his spirit, which is a perfect spirit, right? Because God is all seeing and all knowing. He's all omnipotent. He's omniscient. Okay? He's a perfect God. He's also a jealous God. But when he did this, I got a flashcard. I don't know what that means, but y'all help me with that, whatever that means. But God has a way of knowing, look, I'm going to make Adam and Eve by making Adam. That's what it says, basically, in Genesis 1:27. And then when Eve was taken out of his side, that bone was a part of his masculinity. You understand? That had to be inside of Eve in order for Eve to be created. You see? So that means Eve both had masculine and feminine energy, and Adam had to have masculine and feminine energy in order for a feminine to come out of him. Does that make sense? So why do we always subject ourselves in our image, our sense of self-worth, because of who flirts with us? And maybe because there's a lot more people that are there's a lot more people that's a lot more confused about who they ought to be in love with, who their true lovers truly are, who their kingdom spouses truly are, if they don't subject themselves to what they believe somebody else sees them as. They don't see themselves as the way God sees them. They're always looking for approval and validation from man, forgetting the fact that man's ways and thoughts are flawed. The word says that our ways are not his ways, and our thoughts are not his thoughts. You see? So it's going to be easy for me to be a man and sway my hips. I'm not against anyone that's in that community because I used to be there, so I could talk about it. Okay? I used to really be out there like that. So I understand. But when I realized that God gave me over to a reprobate mind because I did not retain God in my knowledge, like Romans 1:28-32 says, you understand? That's when I realized I was falling down a deep hole in a stumbling block that God created for me because I was dying in my iniquity. You understand? And when you know that you're doing something wrong, it doesn't matter how many people flock to you and tell you, oh, you need to be on this side of the kingdom. If I know that this is the bad side of the kingdom, no, I need to feel enough conviction within myself because of my love of God and how he created me. Fearfully and wonderfully made. I can't subject myself to how somebody else wants me to maneuver in life and forget the way God wants me to maneuver in life. Because then I'll be walking outside of my purpose. I'll never be able to fulfill my kingdom purpose. You see what I'm saying? And this is why I captioned this, Thank You, No Thank You Tuesday, that your worth belongs to you. You understand? Your worth belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anyone else. You understand? Because like I said earlier, as soon as you give your worth to another person, you subject yourself to their grace or their grooming, however they see fit. Because what the problem is, we end up handing over our power to them. Instead of giving over to man, instead of giving it over to man, instead of giving it over to God, we gave it to man, right? And given that man's ways are flawed, did we or did we not make the right decision concerning who should be responsible to help us get in the fullness of the magnifications of our worth? Who's best to help us magnify the merit of our own value? Man or God? You understand? That's why you have to start with you. If you're traumatized, if there's something about you that's in your mind, you're depressed, or if there's anything that's creating some level of confusion, God is not the author of confusion, right? So anybody that comes into our life and try to create some level of confusion to second guess who we think we are or who we know we are, we got to second guess whether or not that person's really here to love us or if they're here to control us. We don't need to subject our power to anything carnal, anything in the physical realm, anything in the 3D, if we have not ever subjected any of that to things of the 5D, to the Most High, to the spirit realm. You understand? Because that's where the answers are. That's where the mysteries of the kingdoms are. That's where we get to find a true, that's where we get to find true stoicism. Okay, this is where we find true resolve. This is where we find all the answers. This is where we get to isolate and fast and sacrifice and pray and be able to really dig deep within our souls. And if we cannot go further and dig anything within us and allow God to search, we just tell God, search me, oh God. Sometimes you got to pray the prayer of David. Say, search me, oh God, because I don't have the ability to look deep down within myself hard enough. I just don't. And because we don't have it, okay, because we don't have what it takes to look deep down within ourselves, we have a tendency to not want to do the internal surgery to look deep within our hearts. We don't want to ask God, but then we want to call our girlfriend and ask them for their advice, not realizing that they might be giving us bad counsel. Your worth belongs to you, my love. You understand? Your worth belongs to you.